From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. Montana's next governor held his first news conference since being elected today. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian reports what Gianforte had to say about COVID-19 and the transition to a new administration.
It's been 1 month since Congressman Gianforte became Montana's governor-elect, and it's 1 month until his inauguration. On Friday, the Bozeman Republican said he's encouraged with how the transition has gone so far.
We're building a great team, have rolled up our sleeves, and are already working for Montanans.
Gianforte made clear COVID-19 will remain a major focus as his administration takes over.
We have to recognize we're in the midst of a public health crisis. The trends right now are alarming, and it's clear we need to get a better handle on this virus.
Gianforte said he will wait for recommendations from his COVID-19 task force before announcing his plans on state action. But he again emphasized his priority will be protecting people in vulnerable populations, but reopening Montana's economy. He said he's optimistic about vaccines, but that people should be aware they won't be widely available for some time.
In the meantime, I encourage Montanans to take care of their loved ones and neighbors and to protect their health and well-being. I trust Montanans to do what's right. I choose to wear a mask, and I encourage others to do the same.
Gianforte said he's had hundreds of Montanans express interest in joining his administration. He plans to name cabinet members and roll out policies in the coming weeks. He also said he's been in contact with many lawmakers of both parties.
My message was clear. I look forward to working together for the benefit of all Montanans. Across the board, there is an enthusiasm to produce better outcomes.
The Montana Legislature's Rules Committees will meet next week for discussions on possible options for how the upcoming legislative session will be run. Gianforte says it will be up to lawmakers to make that decision, but he said he believes they can balance doing their work and keeping people safe. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.
Now, Gianforte will still be representing Montana in the U.S. House for another month. He said today he expects a COVID relief package will reach the House floor before the end of the session, but he doesn't know what it will include. Well, so far this Friday, Montana County health officials have reported another 6 deaths due to COVID-19 related illness. At this hour, MTN reports 757 total COVID related deaths across the state. There are just under 16,000 active cases, nearly 67,000 total cases, and more than 51,000 Montanans have recovered from the virus. Tonight we are learning more about how the state of Montana plans to disperse its allotted shipment of the first round of the COVID-19 vaccine. Governor Steve Bullock announced this week Montana will get 97,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine, but are health agencies ready to take it? Here's Q2's Andrea Lutz with more.
As Montana waits for the first round of COVID-19 vaccinations to come, it's the state health department that's currently busy figuring out shipping, storage, and distribution.
Because we're all waiting for that return back to normal. And we're going to end the pandemic when we have the vaccine.
Montana's Republican Senator Steve Daines helped to secure $10 billion for Operation Warp Speed.
We'll be ready when this vaccine's going to be ready, and we're hoping and praying that'll be probably the back half of December here for Montana.
And where to get it? That's where the Department of Health and Human Services comes in. Currently, 90 providers have registered with the agency to disperse the vaccine, going to healthcare workers first and the elderly. The agency says providers must apply, and they include hospitals, health departments, and pharmacies. And the Pfizer vaccine needs special storage, a freezer. St. Vincent Healthcare says they've got one, saying they purchased an ultra-cold freezer that reaches minus 80 degrees Celsius. They plan to administer the vaccine in accordance with federal and state guidelines and vaccinate as many nurses, doctors, and staff as possible.
And we're going to start by ensuring that our healthcare heroes, those frontline healthcare providers, get that vaccine first.
Daines says the vaccine is safe, and he would know he's already been given it during Pfizer's vaccine trial.
I would describe it as if you're getting the flu shot, and I want to encourage as many Montanans as possible to get that vaccine.
And with Montana's deadliest month for COVID deaths yet in November, health officials and state leaders are stressing the importance of following guidelines so that December won't be worse. In Billings, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Well, thanks, Andrea. Andrea did reach out to the Billings Clinic as well to see what their COVID-19 vaccine capabilities are. Officials there say they already have a cold storage freezer to house the Pfizer vaccine. Schools across Montana are still juggling a combination of remote and in-person learning. The pandemic has left a lot of parents unsure about the quality of education their students are receiving. And tonight we're learning that a federal assessment of education nationwide has been postponed here in Montana. The National Assessment of Educational Progress won't take place until 2022. Every 2 years, the test measures reading, math, and writing proficiency in elementary and middle school students. But this year, the National Center for Education Statistics says the assessment cannot be safely given. Montana Superintendent of Public Instruction, Elsie Arnson, says if you are worried about your child falling behind in school, you should keep in touch with their teachers.
Yes, it's a challenge that the test has been postponed. It'll begin again in 2022. The triangle that I have between school, family, and student right now, we need to maintain. And we need to maintain that it's all about learning. It's not about a test. It should never be about a test.
And you can watch our full 20-minute interview with Superintendent Arnson online. We've got an update this evening on the ongoing MSUB concerns over a water leak that's been affecting multiple campus buildings. The water is turned back on in McMullen Hall, the PE building, Sissel Hall, Rimrock Hall, and the Student Union building. It's now safe for hand washing, showering, and restroom use. However, that water is still not safe to drink. Water levels first have to be tested. Employees who work in these buildings are able to return to their normal schedule starting Monday, December 7th. One Billings officer decided to do something special for less fortunate kids in Billings by creating a Shop with a Cop event. Q2's Shaquille Cozart finds out how this event will hopefully bring some joy this holiday season.
Well, if you haven't already heard, Saturday, December 12th marks the first Shop with a Cop event in Billings. Officer George Stoll with Yellowstone County Sheriff's Office and Detention Facility started the event where 30 less fortunate kids will be given the opportunity to spend $300 at Walmart however they please.
We went to 3 different schools on the south side of Billings, spoke with their principals, their counselors. We were able to get 10 children per school for a total of 30 kids. I put up a Billings Shop with a Cop Facebook site, and we were able to get contacts through that as well.
And the really cool part about this Shop for a Cop event is that every kid participating gets an opportunity to ride in the front seat of a cop car, and also it's going to be running from the Metro over to Walmart, and that's starting at 7 a.m. So if you all do see a line of cop cars with their sirens on Saturday morning, don't worry, it's just kids having fun, playing with some sirens, and getting ready to go on a great shopping spree.
With the year that we've had right now with COVID, things have slowed down tremendously. And if we can bring a little bit of joy and inspiration to a child or a household, if we can show our support and help that household out, then there's just nothing better for us.
Reporting in Billings, I'm Shaquille Cozart with MTN News.
Thanks, Shaquille. And Officer Stahl says he's thankful for the Billings businesses and people in the community who donated to support this event. For more information on how to donate, you can visit ktvq.com. Well, a new place for artists and those in the crafting business to show and sell their stuff in Billings, which has been pretty tough to do as of late with shows being canceled. Crackajack is a small storefront downtown next to Elle's Bouterie on First Avenue. That building is a place for artisans, designers, painters, and other crafters to create and market their work. People can purchase vendor space, small or large, all from Montana artists. Crackajack will also feature a classroom in the rear of the room that people can rent for classes and activities. The inventory will be regularly circulating with new vendors and new art.
Crackajack really just means it's a person who is skilled at a particular task. So the whole point of the store is to give anybody kind of a space to just kind of do their thing, create their craft. COVID really kind of ruined us for a little bit, canceled shows everywhere. And with this, it's so permanent that we're not going to go anywhere.
They'll be holding their grand opening tomorrow, and to learn more about how this group is making it work in these uncertain times, be sure to watch the Q2 Weekend News. Up next on tonight's Q2 530 News, Montana's legislature set to meet for the first time in 2 years. We're getting a look at what some of the top priorities will be for Republicans who are now in solid control. And a little later in sports, the National Finals Rodeo kicks off with a new location. And look, Scott Breen will have that story.
Hey, good evening, everybody. As we look at the radar, not a whole heck of a lot going on. Cool and clear tonight. We'll have the full forecast coming your way in just a few minutes.